My name is Sarah El-Sharawi. I am the managing editor of Arab Media and Society, and I head the Research and Publications Division of the Kamal Adham Center for Television and Digital Journalism at the American University in Cairo. I'd like to thank you all very much for joining us today. It's a hot one out there, and it's a busy time of day, so we really appreciate you all joining us. In recent months, it seems impossible not to turn on your TV and read the news headlines or interact on your social media without being inundated with news, debate, or conjecture about artificial intelligence and the impact it is set to have or is already having on nearly every aspect of our lives. Over the last several years in the field of media and communication, we have had a front row seat to the incremental application of various AI technologies in development, production, and dissemination processes, with varying degrees of quality and success, a byproduct of the nature and evolution of the technology. In academia, the latest iterations of generative AI iterations of generative AI have had a seismic impact across disciplines, and journalism and mass communication is no exception. Academic departments the world over have been scrambling to address both issues of academic integrity, as well as the effective integration of these new technologies into curricula. Today's esteemed panel will be addressing both the technology and its application in the field of media and communication, with particular reference to the development of educational offerings that equip students in the Arab region with the tools to properly navigate developments in AI. Our panel is composed of experts who bring to the table diverse experience from across media, technology, and of course, academia. In order of speaking today, our panelists are Dr. Hussein Amin, who is director of the Kamal Adham Center for Television and Digital Journalism and professor of mass communication in the School of Global Affairs and Public Policy at AUC. Dr. Amin has a long record of impactful contributions to the field of journalism and mass communication through scholarship, his tenure as a board member of several top-ranked journals, invited lectures, and more than 20 keynote addresses to international and including European, American, and African academic and professional association conferences, and key positions in national, regional, and global media structures. He has contributed to the founding of many journalism and mass communication academic programs in Egypt and across the Arab world. Dr. Tariq El-Abedi is currently the Director General, Corporate Services at the Islamic Development Bank. He has been involved in software product development and advanced innovation for over 25 years. Prior to joining the Development Bank, he served as the Chief Technology Officer, or CTO, of Microsoft's Digital Transformation Unit, where he drove digital transformation across multiple industries, promoting a culture of accelerating innovation through collaborative innovation with key Microsoft customers, including effectively connecting advanced technologies to people's lives and ecosystems around the world. Dr. Ahmed El-Godai is Associate Professor of Media and Communication Studies at Urbera University in Sweden, as well as Associate Professor of Media and Creative Industries at the United Arab Emirates University. He is a prolific researcher and the author of a number of academic books, including Journalism in the Time of Fake News and Using Artificial Intelligence in the Al Jazeera Newsroom to Combat Fake News, which is certainly relevant to today. And another note, as Dr. Godai is acting as a guest editor for our upcoming issue of Arab Media and Society, which is set to be published in about a month, which is on media and fake news, so keep an eye out for that. Mr. Ahmed Esmat he works at the intersection of media and entrepreneurship with a focus on digital literacy, data verification, and digital transformation in the media and entertainment industry. He has founded and run several journalism and media companies and has extensive experience in teaching, training, consultancy, and product management in various reputed institutes and educational organizations. He's also won several awards for his work, including the Media Innovation Prize for Pan-Arab Thought, for the Pan-Arab Thought Foundation, and the Brunel London University Bronze Prize, where he also received his MSc in Business Intelligence and Digital Transformation as a Chevening Scholar. So that's our esteemed panel today. And each will give about a 15 to 20-minute presentation, which will be followed by an interactive Q&A. So to start us off today, Dr. Amin will begin, and he will be speaking about AI and journalism education and exploring the challenges and opportunities across the field and in the region. Go ahead, Doctor.
Sir, here. It's really wonderful to see a good number of wonderful colleagues and students who are interested in such a special topic that I thought audience today be a different audience, especially talk about artificial intelligence and the media in general, and artificial intelligence in journalism education in particular. After this welcome note, the introduction of artificial intelligence, which I'm going to refer to as AI, of journalism education is welcome with a mixed reaction of concerns, fears, and excellent number of questions. While some are inspired about the potential of AI innovate the journalism education, some are left with worries and concerns about the potential risk it poses to the journalism and communication education programs, and to the journalism profession, as well as the media industry in general. So this is a big, huge shift that we're going to are witnessing right now. And there are programs in the world that my colleagues are going to speak about it. We already introduced the change, and this change is still coupled with fears and concerns. Artificial intelligence is all about training machines and algorithms to learn and develop like humans. Thus, any program or machine that possesses this capability would be considered to be an AI, making it one of humanity's top priorities for us to not only survive, but also advance alongside our technical counterparts. First, I'm going to speak about the prospects. What's in it for us? And the first thing is the general advantages of artificial intelligence in journalism education programs. Although there are some initiatives are taking place in some universities in Egypt, but these are not matured yet. It's in a very early stages of development, like an embryo. It's not a baby yet. So therefore, we need to accelerate the process a little bit. So one prospect is to make content more accessible by breaking it down into smaller, easier to understand. This is for our students and graduate students, of course. 2, translate information into multiple languages, and this is in seconds. 3, use blockchain technology to protect copyright, which is very important, for various types of media, and over schools, especially in journalism and communication, academic integrity is a must. And therefore, it is important to not use artificial intelligence unethically. 4, uses in different stages of the news production process. 5, process language to detect potential bias. 6, transcribe a wide range of audio recording with different dialects and languages. 7, summarizing lengthy text pieces, creating interview questions. And 8, enabling tailored learning by smart information on your digital devices at the precise moment you need it. So it's knowledge under your demand. 24 hours, 7 days a week. Something else? Okay. Okay. So, do you hear me well? Good. Then, we're still talking about prospects. We finished with it. Second, organized information. There are numerous advantages of artificial intelligence for students in the field of journalism and mass communication, in addition to the capabilities of AI systems in journalism education. The outstanding skills of these intelligent devices, such as their capacity to continuously supply knowledge from a variety of sources, have been employed by faculty, trainers, and educators around the world to boost students' performance. So the students' performance that we understand right now, this is going to be triple or maybe more in the next 3 to 5 years, if we implement AI in educational programs. Then the gap in educational resource in journalism and mass communication programs using conventional approaches like books, reports, lecture materials, significantly are going to be reduced. So depending on books, those who are depending on books, who like books a lot, people we like to do books. Books are going to be diminishing. Artificial intelligence is going to push for replacement of materials that the students can use, and therefore books, lecture materials are going to be reduced. Applications of AI application as they help GMC, journalism and mass communication. I'm using this term a lot too. Will locate solutions for the answers with accessible dictionaries like Google Scholars and educational videos and information. All of this Google Scholar stuff is going to be under the demand of any students and the journalism and mass communication program. Okay. Third, personalized education. Artificial intelligence has given rise to revolution, the educational landscape in general, and the journalism and mass communication in particular. Personalized learning, which develop courses, activities for students specifically tailored for their needs and interests based on information from students' data, is one way to observe this transition. So any student with needs to understand about a subject matter, this is going to be available with tutoring and the entire package for him or her. So no more complaints about we can't learn it, because all the materials and the tutors are going to be available for you all the time. Fourth, massive help for students from especially students with special needs. We are all know about students with special needs. Giving its adaptability, artificial intelligence can be utilized to assist students with particular needs. The AI works for each student individually to ensure that they are learning at their best rate while also giving them additional one-on-one time with teachers who could otherwise miss important details when instructing a large group owing to the lack of participation from some student in the class. So right now we see a new technology is going to help a good sector of the society, and this help is going to be also available 24/7. Fifth, integrated learning. Immersive learning is one of the numerous educational possibilities and the advantages of artificial intelligence offer. By using a number of tools, students are provided with real-world experience. This real-world experience they can use in a regular basis outside of class and are giving more influence over how they learn. So incredible experiences are transferred as well. The exponential growth of artificial intelligence in our culture will change journalism education. This is for sure. Mark my words. Because some people say, no, it's not now. He's a dreamer. And the panel, all the rest of the panelists are dreamers. It's coming, and it's coming fast. Okay? So, especially when you consider how restricted humans are in comparison with AI abilities to assimilate information in incredibly fast rate while doing accurate computation without making mistakes growing or growing weary. So no mistakes for artificial intelligence. We make mistakes. By the way, I make mistakes all the time. And I have to admit it. But I fix it later on. Artificial intelligence, no mistakes. It's not a fair competition. 6, intelligence tutoring systems. And over here we're talking about intelligent tutoring that are one of the innovative applications that reflects the advantages and of artificial intelligence, educational platforms. ITS, which is the intelligent tutoring system, use computer-based learning environment to assist the students in learning, practicing or mastering new abilities by giving them a tailored teaching based of how potentially they are with a particular topic or skill set. So also this is an advantage that is going to, we are going to see it soon. Now, the 7th is the virtual reality learning. Did you bring the glasses? No glasses? From Radio?
The VR? Yes.
VR.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yeah, no, that's how I am. Anyway, I'm just giving you, of course you have seen it before. Virtual reality and augmented reality are technologies that we are playing with it right now, but these are going to be serious technologies that we're going to live through, especially in news gathering, and especially in news reporting, and particularly in documentaries. the two things are different. There is a small difference between virtual reality. When I wear these glasses, I can put this environment in a space environment, and I can see you. Okay, fine. But I can see you in this particular environment. But to interact with you at an AMS, this is augmented reality. And these are technologies that are moving very fast. Thank you very much. So I'm still alive. Okay, so this is one of the dangerous things about wearing the glasses. We are doing a presentation. Of course, for the head of the students, it's easy, but for my head, it's difficult. So try to imagine this is what we're going to do with each other in the next few years. Interesting. So, very important to know about the use of virtual reality and augmented reality, and particularly when we would like to learn about something. We all come from an oral culture. You know, the literature and communication say, oh, those are, they come from the oral culture. It's not a visual culture like in the West. They are raised with pictures, with videos. But we, at the age of, when satellite broadcasting came, we said, okay, there is a change that happened in the oral culture to the visual culture. And the visual culture started creating some problems. But this is nothing of what we're going to see next. What we're going to see next is a visual culture that we interact with it. So the big question marks over here. And then these software grading systems, grading constitute difficult time for professors. So right now what we do is just pass it to artificial intelligence, give them instructions, and they will grade it for you in a matter of minutes. Rising GMC academic standards and GMC educational quality. For both, I have told you that the more information, the more knowledge, the better students' performance. And therefore, we're giving them information from all over the world. And we're giving them experience from all over the world. And there is nothing that will stop any students from learning more if he or she would like to learn more. So this is, again, will create information-rich societies and information-poor society within one culture. So over here, the programs that are going to adapt, implement, and use, they are going to advance, and you will see the advancement of the students. The programs that ignore and still in fear and complaints, then there is no more information for them. All right, so we have to be very careful about this. The second thing, of course, is if we think ahead 20 years, let's say 2050. So those who are coming from elementary or kindergarten, kids growing up with this kind of technology to preparatory schools, secondary schools, at the university level. So imagine what kind of powerful information each one of them will have. This is incredible if you just try to imagine. So everybody is going to be empowered, and not only empowered with information that affected his or her performance, no, but also have the power to have more power of information with regard to more utilization of AI. Of course, lower human error. Many tasks are formally completed with humans, have been automated thanks to technological advancement. Over here, artificial intelligence reduces human mistakes, and this is a given. It's one of small but nice stuff. I will talk about some concerns for 2 minutes. The first concern is reduced human interactions. So the more we depend on artificial intelligence, the less human interactions you will see or experience. The second, lack of employment for journalist professors. I'm a journalist professor. Maybe in 20 years, there will be no need for people like me. Especially for young people who are pursuing PhDs and who wanted to be professors. You're going to compete with artificial intelligence software. But since the machines, they don't have feelings and they don't know how to interact with humans yet, therefore, the humans are going to be there until, complemented with AI, until this particular problem is of course, financial difficulties. Some countries, and I was in Spain last week, was one of the top people in media management, and I was talking to him about, again, the gap that is going to exist between first world countries and developing countries. They are moving very fast toward artificial intelligence implementations, and we are going slow as usual. We have so many other business and concerns in our daily life that really pushes us on a slow pace. But again, this is going to constitute a problem of those who have the power of information, the power of knowledge, and those who are not having this power. So what is going to be happening within the next 20 years is very fascinating if we consider the elements that I have stated. The fifth is the addiction to artificial intelligence. If we start using artificial intelligence every day, as we're using our smartphone, if I want to punish one of my students, even my graduate students, I take his smartphone away. So this is a big punishment, because everybody is using the phone, even here, where I see people still using their smartphones. Okay? I don't consider it an element of distractions because I have seen so many documentaries about students who are attending lectures, but their mind is. But will bring us to what will happen to the multitasking, the people who can process one and more piece of information at a given time. And if this is going to happen, I think we see it in Cairo streets when somebody is driving a car, talking on the smartphone, listening to music, and also trying to comprehend the scene in front of him or her, with people going on the wrong direction and people crossing the street from not an area not allowed to, but still must make the right decision of driving a car, otherwise a lot of people will be killed. It's happening sometimes because of this mismanagement. We have this intra-personal communication. And this intra-personal communication, and we communicate, I talk to myself. You believe it? I talk to myself every day, and you talk to yourself. Everybody in this room talks to himself. Otherwise, we won't be able to find the right time to cross the street. You wake up in the morning saying, I'm going to wash my face, I'm going to turn on the TV on a network. But you're talking, there is an intrapersonal communication. This intrapersonal communication is going to be strengthened. All right? What will happen if this intrapersonal communication is going to be strengthened? Don't tell me that Cairo Street is going to be more crowded and people going in there. No, but there are a lot of other solutions. But people are going to be addicted to artificial intelligence and dependent on them to make the decision instead of them. Okay? Interesting. Conclusions. Okay. So, my colleagues are going to talk about examples. I don't want to tell you about the examples, but there are so many examples in the world right now that really take this business seriously. So, in conclusion, artificial intelligence in journalism education has a number of prospects that we talked about it, that advise us. Keep telling me, knocking on. To immediately introduce artificial intelligence in the field of journalism mass communication. to the Ministry for Education and the Ministry of Higher Education. Of course, they are all busy with Sanawiyya Am. The artificial intelligence, this picture is going to be changed, dramatically changed. Okay? And I'm giving you a message, a clear message, going to be changed. So the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research should consider initiatives to introduce artificial intelligence tools and integrated educational program. 3, research is needed to examine the impact of AI on various aspects of journalism mass communication programs in the Egyptian context. In the Egyptian context, because we need to improve ourselves before we advise to improve others. So in the Egyptian context, to measure potential benefits and drawbacks of using. Or Supreme Council of University Sector of Media and Communication is invited to study and to introduce AI different journalism and mass communication program. Very important. Then specialized diploma in AI journalism. I repeat, specialized diplomas in AI journalism should be introduced to create careers of qualified personnel and trained faculty members as soon as possible. Okay? This is the quote. I'm going to quote myself. The wind of change has arrived. No more fears of AI. Now we are aware of it and understand it. Let us say time has come to implement it and use it to keep up with the changes that is happening in the world of journalism. And I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amin. Next, we have Dr. Tariq Al-Abadi, who will be offering a technical perspective on how AI and associated collection and application of data are impacting media business models.
Assalamu alaikum. مساء الخير. Get ready for a ride. I'm going to take you for a ride. I'm techie by education, by profession, but I'm trying to really make it easy for you. Artificial intelligence is something that I personally, who I'm probably in the upper generations in the room, did my PhD thesis early 90s in artificial intelligence. I developed artificial intelligence. I researched artificial intelligence. I sold artificial intelligence recently. And about a month ago, I joined the Islamic Development Bank to make an impact on people's life with artificial intelligence. So I'm going to walk you through a journey, okay? And if I feel like I'm losing you in English, I'm going to switch to Arabic, and I apologize for those who will be lost. Okay, so first, with the inception of computers in our life, first of all, let's agree on something. The humans were here to conquer the world, okay? No one won over humans. ربنا خلقنا عشان كده. We are here to learn, develop, and conquer the world. دي حكمته. And we did a very good job. There is nothing that beat us today. Okay? Artificial intelligence is bringing some risk, but it brings a lot of benefits, And I'm gonna stress more on the benefits because I think there is hype about the fear associated with artificial intelligence so they can make more money. Okay? Why artificial intelligence is all of a sudden a topic of the hour? Because it came very close to money making now. There's billions of dollars that are going around, and there is thirst for money making. Okay? So what is better than this? Media helping them, creating some fear, creating some attention. When you have a new movie and you have a scandal that has to do with the cast. Isn't that part of the media play to get more money out of this movie? So think about it the same way. It's actually the hype about the fear associated with artificial intelligence. It's very much driven by the thirst for money making. Okay, there is definitely a danger. There is a danger of replacing a lot of work. A lot of jobs will be gone because of artificial intelligence. In fact, every job will be gone because of artificial intelligence, and if you're not changing ahead of it, imagine that someone is trying to take your job and you're running. If you slow down, you will be gone. So who is more ready for artificial intelligence? Younger generations are much more ready. They're accepting change. They can move around. They can reinvent themselves. So it's here to happen, and I think it's a golden opportunity for the world, especially this region. Why this region? Because we talked how much we are heavyweight on younger generations. Okay, the average age, 21 in population, 110 million, 21 years old is the average age. So we're more ready for artificial intelligence. It's a golden opportunity ربنا بعتها لنا. Just to figure out actually how to set people up, build trust, because it's a key requirement. Build trust. Because you're going to run too fast and you're going to make decisions. Some of them will be wrong. And rulers, your dad, whatever, has to accept that you will make decisions, but you will correct it quickly. That's the power. So when the computer came up, the first thing that said is like, okay, it will replace human being. It will be one day understand better, see better, all the senses, hear better. But it did not deliver at the scale until maybe 5-6 years ago because of the availability of data. Okay, you hear about data is the currency, data is the oil, data is the water, data. It's true. And it's funny, actually, when the technology sector started, it started with structured data, data that you see in tables, content, documents. And then in 2005 came something called social networks. And all of a sudden, the unstructured data became way bigger than the structured data, way bigger. How many likes, how many comments that has no meaning, okay? It grew like crazy. And then 5 years later, something called IoT, sensors data. Okay, today you can buy a Chinese camera for $30, and it has the best face recognition, the best pet recognition, movement, in the dark, in the light. So these sensors are changing the way we deal with artificial intelligence. The second thing that actually changed in the last 10 years or so is the availability of compute power. Okay, all these mega computers that are coming up around us is making it cheap to take all this data and process it. So the first thing, actually, application of artificial intelligence, I'm going to switch gears a little bit to the media side so I can relate to the audience, was content. Content publishing, translation, content management in general was the key. And governments and entities were speeding up to share their language. They were providing digitization. Okay, we want Arabic. We want Arabic. We want the support in Windows for Arabic. We want support for Office for Arabic. So everybody was giving us data for free here, so we can have the support for Arabic. Okay? So this field by itself had no problem actually aggregating data from all languages. So the first application for artificial intelligence, and you see ChatGPT, was in the language understanding. because of the availability of data. And actually the owners, they don't care. They just want their language to be supported. Okay? I personally worked with governments that actually were asking for help to digitize more and to make more content in their own language. And so that's the first field. When it comes to media, it was like content, content, content. And there were paranoia about content ownership. Okay? So that was the fear part. Like, oh yeah, stealing, I want watermarking, I want right management, that was 5-10 years of technology progress on protecting content. And then we switched to, thanks to the internet and thanks to the media again, advertising business took the internet on a ride. Okay? It made it really happen. That's what made the internet happen, is that the money that came to really help the internet monetize the internet, advertising business. And guess what? It advertised, it was the business model, successful business model for any business on the internet. People were going in circles and coming back, oh, we're going to monetize through advertising. We're going to monetize. So relating the topics to advertising is an artificial intelligence job. So all of Google work to match what you're looking for, what you're reading with ads was artificial intelligence. Okay? And then we move on. Who knows TikToks? Okay, Instagram. What do you call this? It's an experience. We moved from content and publishing and sharing to now we're selling experience. If you look in what's on the content component of TikTok, there is nothing. It's just an experience. People are buying this experience. Okay? And again, it's artificial intelligence. And I'll tell you a story. There is a very famous league, football league, okay, who during COVID lost all their ticket revenue. 2 years, no crowd, no tickets. Okay? And they were the owners of the license for the games. Okay? It's a very famous league. You all know it. So they came running and said, what are we going to do? We need to replace the ticket revenue with something else. And there were two ideas to really consider. And they both were driven by artificial intelligence. One is to take the game and turn it into a snippets. Okay? Snippets, few clips of every game that have a price, that we think it has a price. It can be a material for Instagram. It can be a story that you can create an emoji around. It can be something of value. We know that people will pay money for this clip it. Okay? Doesn't need to be a goal scorer or anything. It's a clip it. Finding these clippets in the whole 1.5 hour is artificial intelligence. Okay, so it changed the concept of actually dealing with content. All of a sudden, you may be wondering why BN Sport doesn't really care if you can buy it on the internet for free. A few years back, you would be sued. All the boxes will be banned. Now they're okay. Rights management is for free. Intellectual property, like Dr. Hussein was saying, is giving for free because they want to be part of experience that makes money. Okay, and that's artificial intelligence. That's not a bad way of looking at artificial intelligence because you can be sitting at your home in a village in Egypt and making good money on Instagram today. Okay, that's empowering underserved population. Okay. So that's the good side of artificial intelligence. The part that really is getting a lot of attention right now is the inference, is the ability of the machines to see things in data better than human. okay? Because they see way more data than the average doctor see. The average doctor and Egyptian doctors are one of the best because they get to see lots and lots of cases. Okay? But in reality, the machine can see thousands of these patients, okay? From every gender, every place, every temperature, they can see it in seconds and tell you what the disease maybe look like. Okay? That's artificial intelligence. It's gonna do better than any routine job that we know today. Any job that looks like routine, I tell my kids this. I tell them 3 things, and going back to education, Dr. Hussein's point, it's not my term, it's a very common term, I apologize if you heard it before. 3 C's. 3 C's we need in our education systems for the younger generations to be a player in developing and using artificial intelligence. First is critical minds. Don't take things as is. Always question, because the data can take you in territories that you don't want to be in. So you have to really be critical, questioning why. Start with why. There's a nice book, by the way, called Start With Why, if you want to. But it's actually, the concept of actually critical mind is important. The second one is creativity. So you always have to outdo the machine with creativity. Think outside the box. How can we do that when we came in an environment that's very dictative? بس يا ولد بابا قال كده. ده مش في المنهج هتسقط. أو ما تشتغل المدير. فين المدير يفضل قاعد يلف ويدور لغاية لما المدير يجي عشان ياخد القرار. How can you expect them to be independent thinkers and creative? We need to do a lot. The good news, our kids are way better at that end. In good and bad way. بيردوا على أبوهم وأمهم بس مش مشكلة. They are at least, they push back. And my eyes on the youngsters in the room طبعا. You're the hope. Seriously, you're the hope. And the final C is communication. Again, we conquered the war because we know how to work together. No one else. The machines will never work together better. So we need to really improve our communications in both ways, basically, when we disagree and when we agree. But bottom line, communication is our way to win over artificial intelligence. And I'm not going to touch on the negatives of artificial intelligence because I don't want to make more, but I think artificial intelligence is just like the environmental problems, it's just like nuclear weapons, needs to be regulated with international agencies. Europe is taking some lead on that, on the privacy side with data. I think that's the only hope, that actually ethics in AI cannot be controlled unless international agencies actually take care. And I will stop here and give opportunity to my friends.
Thank you very much, Dr. Al-Abadi. Next, we have Dr. Ahmed Al-Godai, who will be pulling from international experiences from Europe, the Middle East, and the US to elucidate the gap between education and professional applications of AI. And just before Dr. Al-Godai starts, I just want to make a note. I've been informed that there are more headsets. So if anyone needs a headset in the audience who doesn't currently have one, just raise your hand and somebody will come around. Please keep your hands raised.
So, good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Amin for arranging this event. For me, let me sort of like start with something personal. My 30 years journey of education started from this place and from this actual room. So for me, this is like getting back home. So it gives me sort of like now a lot of emotions. So this is talking about AI and journalism education. For me personally, also is a very important topic, because 30 years ago we were talking about the same issue with the introduction of the internet, and whether we need to develop journalism education after the introduction of the internet and utilization of the internet. Once it started back in 1996 to be part of the daily journalism process. So here, 30 years later, we're asking the same question. We're like, again, at this point, turning point. 30 years ago, it was a turning point with the introduction of the internet. Now we are seeing another turning point or another milestone in journalism profession as well as journalism education after the introduction of the internet. Of course, artificial intelligence is becoming part of our daily life. Whether we like it or not, it is here. From targeted email, from ranking of social media, from predicting an illness, especially with the COVID and COVID-19, to autonomous vehicles, to e-commerce, to banking, financial sector, to navigation, to smart homes, to security and surveillance, artificial intelligence has become part of our daily life. When it comes to journalism, journalism has always had this idea of ambivalency when it comes to technology in general. Back in 1995, so like days of the dinosaurs, the only technology journalists would like was a better printing machine so that the ink will not be part of their work, sort of like so their hands didn't get stained from the ink or from the newspaper's ink. Now, the same question is there with the fear of artificial intelligence and the fear of technology. But the thing is, it is becoming a do or die since 2016. And that was, again, a turning point with the, not introduction, but with the expansion of what is called fake news. So fake news has had a form of like a severe impact on journalism as a profession, with several people losing faith in traditional form of journalism and turning towards alternative forms of media instead of mainstream journalism and mainstream journalism education. Since then, artificial intelligence became part of the daily journalism work, from news automation, especially in the fields of sports, as well as financial sector, predicting market, as well as predicting stocks, to search and research optimization, to developing better content in terms of developing better and customized content to audience according to their preference, to analyzing data, as Dr. Tarek was talking, simply understanding audience preference, and customizing audience, I'm not developing audience, of course, but customizing content according to audience preference. And that also led to analyzing news sources, and that became a tool or a way to combat fake news and fake information. Of course, with the internal structure of journalism, artificial intelligence became part in terms of news metrics, who's reading what, when, why, when would be sort of like the best time to send the message to this specific person, to this specific audience, to this specific target group. Also, for a form of like quality assurance in terms of, are we presenting fair news? Are we presenting better news? Are we serving our community? All of these became sort of like better developed with artificial intelligence. So this is a form of a map of the new forms of journalism. Since the development of artificial intelligence, we are seeing a plethora of new terms getting in order in journalism, with network journalism, spatial journalism, database journalism, investigative journalism, entrepreneur journalism. New forms of journalism started to develop, started to become more and more prominent in the field of journalism. And that essentially changed newsroom structure. With, as you can see here, artificial intelligence programmers being an integral part of the journalism process, as well as in newsroom process. Editors are becoming sort of like sense makers, as well as journalists are becoming networks or nodes within networks of the flow of information along with audience. Communities, formerly known as readers, are becoming an integral part of not only news consumption, news making, and news preference. So, turning to our point of importance, or sort of like moving now to the topic of discussion. This has essentially created a form of pressure on journalism education. And this pressure came from the industry. Before, journalism education, or the educators, were setting the agenda of what should be learned and how journalism should be. Now it's the other way around. It is the media, as well as the market, who are putting the pressure now on journalism education in order to meet the demands of a fast-growing market, as well as a fast-growing audience and community. During the past few years, we are seeing for the very first time journalism institutions and journalism industry hiring journalism talents, not necessarily coming from journalism background. So they are not graduates of journalism schools. They need to be social media experts, so they need to navigate social media. They need to be part of the online world. They need to be part of this global network of information. They need to know how to interact with audience. They need to how to sell their news. So like this is what, sort of like the journalism of clicks and shares, as mentioned. They need to understand how to data mine information, as well as how to manage database, as Dr. Tarek was talking recently. As well as they need to have this form of algorithm skills, especially with languages like R, like Python, and other natural language programming, as well as using big data and be sort of like experts in big data analysis. So the demand of journalism graduates is shrinking. So this is the current situation. The demand for journalism graduates is shrinking. Anyone here with working in media, in journalism education would know and understand that the number of students applying for journalism major is shrinking. As well as journalism students who are graduating, they cannot find sort of like a full-time job that easily. So this is the current situation. This is the reality that we are facing as journalism educators. Okay? And as Dutch scholar Mark Does said, in today's journalism, students are less likely to find a full-time jobs as professional journalists in this global north. And here he's talking about Europe mainly. And journalism has become post-industrial, entrepreneurial, and atypical. So the industrial age of journalistic media with news produced by full-time professionals look like it is ending. Journalists are more likely to have to behave like entrepreneurs in this gig economy, or this social media gig economy. Moving from one short-term contract to the next. It is a precious existence, or it is a precarious existence. So simply, journalism schools around the world started to respond to this pressure. Here are some of the examples from United States, from Europe, and from the Middle East. So let's start with the United States. So in the United States, unfortunately, it is becoming so that they are using what I define as the traditional model. So they haven't changed their curricula. What they are doing in some Ivy League universities, like University of Southern California, like Stanford, like Missouri, like MIT, they are sort of like including elements of artificial intelligence in their current programs. Like in USC, they are integrating AI in their digital journalism education, mainly teach students tools to help students to evaluate sources. In Stanford, they offer artificial intelligence within framework of computational journalism education, where students learn algorithm and data science work in journalism. University of Missouri, the Missouri Informatics Institute, aim to apply informatics in various disciplines, including journalism education, as well as in MIT, although they don't have a traditional journalism education, but their MIT lab has a significant contribution when it comes to the intersection between the technology, the journalism industry, as well as the society. Moving into Europe, they're having this form of mixed method, mixing experimental as well as ontological or theoretical level, like in London School of Economics, as well as University of Amsterdam. They look at AI from a philosophical point in terms of the technological determinism, like when we introduce the technology, people will follow suit. This is on one hand. So they also introduce AI in journalism courses and modules. So again, they are not developing new programs. They are not developing new programs. So they are scratching the surface of artificial intelligence and how it is implemented in modules, especially modules that deal with data journalism as well as entrepreneurial journalism. In Dublin City University and City University of London, as well as Dortmund University in Germany, they integrate practice of artificial intelligence in journalism education with the collaboration of courses from computer science department. So sort of like they are hiring external experts in order to teach journalism in their core curriculum. Now moving to the innovation model. Okay, and this is the innovation of Scandinavia. And Scandinavia is known to be sort of like the leaders when it comes to journalism profession, in that sense. The very first online newspaper was in Finland, I'm sorry, not in Finland, but was in Sweden, as well as the development of several AI tech companies that actually provide AI solutions to different journalism companies. They are based in Scandinavia. So here I'm talking about some examples from Örebro University, where I come from Linnaeus University, as well as from Helsinki University. They are dealing with this form of innovative model. With the help of governments in Sweden, as well as in Denmark, as well as in Norway, as well as with other institutions like RJ, Innovative Institute, CIDA, and so on, they are developing new programs. And these new programs, they follow 4 or 5 stages. The first stage is doing focus group with media practitioners, both from the public sector as well as the private sector. So they get like a group of professionals, usually between 15 to 20, and they said, okay, what are your demands in journalism education? What do you lack in journalism graduates? What skills are missed that we need to address? And this process takes at least 5 months of continuous focus groups as well as continuous meetings. The other focus group is with other journalism professors as well as journalism educators from the country, where they said, okay, so what capacities do we have and how can we develop them? Do we need, sorry, I'm getting excited. So, do we need to hire new people? What are the new skills that we need in new league of educators or new breed, sort of like a new generation of educators. So they meet with journalism professors as well as computer science professors in order to see how they work. The third group is with AI service providers. And these are the companies or the organizations that provide AI solutions to journalism industry, okay? In terms of what is next? Where can education take a one step ahead in terms of education so that we are prepared, so we're not sort of like lagging behind? Also with trainers and training institutes like FUJU, like journalism syndicates, in order to see what are the skills that are needed for developing a better education system. And then after all of these focus groups are concluded, then they propose a new program. Mostly it is in the form of a new master's program, or a form of like a professional master program, usually between 1 year or 2 years. Okay? And these programs aimed primarily for journalists in order to develop their skills. And the thing is, most of these programs are either paid by the institutions that they are working with because they are part of this consortium, or from the government, or from the organizations like RJ, the Innovative Institute, CIDA, and so on. So it's a form of looking into what skills are needed, how can we develop it, as well as how can we provide a better service for journalists. Now, moving to the Middle East. As Dr. Amin was saying, we're still at the primary level, the embryo level. Like we have not sort of like developed that well, but we are moving. And here I'm showing some examples of universities. So several universities across the Middle East, they're looking at AI from what is the definition of AI and how AI can affect journalism. Other universities, they are using this form of experimental format, like the AUB, like AUC, King Saud University, King Hamad University, Sharjah University, United Arab Emirates University. They introduced gadgets like journalism VR. See, like what Dr. Amin was showing? I didn't discuss it with him, I swear. But sort of like, I did my homework. Like journalism VR, metaverse, especially during COVID time, where several universities were moving towards this idea of smart campus. And now they have been sort of like implementing it more and more now. With Qatar University, it has this form of like special program. Because the journalism education is closely tied with the Gezira. And this I have studied. So they are working closely with the Gezira as an institute, as well as with the Gezira Training Institute. And also they are working with Qatar University Computing Research Institute, which is one of the leading institutes in Arabizing NLBs, or the natural language programming, as well as they have a strong collaboration with media institutes like Al Jazeera, like CNN, like other service providers like Twitter, BBC, Reuters, among others. But still, their education is limited towards those who are working inside Al Jazeera. So, some final thoughts. When it comes to journalism education, as well as using artificial intelligence, there are some forms of concerns. Some of them, they have been dealt with like with Dr. Hussein Amin was talking, but let me talk about some other concerns. The first is AI good for democracy? Is it really developing sort of like, the idea is sort of like the fear of the continuous use or taking the technology as it is without looking at what are the negatives or what are the disadvantages of AI. One problem with AI is actually the reproduction of information. Like if you ask ChatGPT a question and you, ma'am, ask the same question and you, sir, ask the same question, you will get the same answers. You will get the same answers. Because AI is fed with databases. And sooner or later, the databases will be done. So we need to introduce more and more databases. You need to feed it with more and more databases, update databases. For those, for example, who are using ChatGPT, its cutoff point is in 2021. So any information beyond 2021, they don't have any information about it. So this is one concern of AI, is the idea of reproduction of information, reproduction of databases. The second is ethics, as Dr. Tarek was talking about. For me, it is critical to address the ethical considerations involved in using AI in journalism. These could include questions about privacy, accuracy, accountability, and potential bias of AI systems. And let me give you an example. A couple of years ago, there was this issue of Sheikh Jarrah. Do you remember Sheikh Jarrah incident? If you look at content that came from Facebook, that came from Instagram, they were only carrying Israeli narrative, not Palestinian narrative, not other narrative. Because in their sense, or in their system, any information that is beyond Israel would be fake news. Would be fake news, not reliable information. So think about it. The entire world was fed with information and was fed with narrative that is not true. And when alternative media started sort of like to say, okay, there is a problem, what you're saying is not correct, Instagram and Facebook, they said, okay, we need to go back and look into our database and whether it is, if there is any form of biasness or not. So definitely there is an element of biasness when it comes to use of artificial intelligence. The third point is actually education overload. We are feeding students of 3 years of journalism education, teaching them how to write, how to edit, how to design, but now we need to give them more information in terms of how to use computers, how to do programming, how to excel in databases, and how to do data mining, and how to read and implement data. And this is pretty hard. This is pretty hard for humanities student. Again, journalism is a humanities, is a social science. Okay? So we need them to excel in disciplines, and they actually need to excel in these disciplines if they would like to embark in a career in journalism. Fourth is the filter bubble with the use of AI. And finally, the algorithm bias prejudice, including ranking order and directed agenda. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Al-Godai. So now, apparently, we do have an additional 5 headsets for the remainder of the time. So if you would like a headset, please put your hand up. There are 5 available. Put your hands up and keep them up, please, if anyone still needs them. Finally, we have Mr. Ahmed Ismat, who will be sharing recommendations and reflections on developing academic offerings in journalism and AI in the context of a diploma that is currently being developed at the Kamal Atham Center.
مساء الخير. Good evening. Thank you for being among us today, and thank you, Dr. Hussein, for inviting me. Actually, I'll be building upon what all have been said, in specific what Dr. Gudai had been saying regarding the curriculums and stuff like that. As you all know, like now, our fields, the media and the entertainment field, have been affected drastically with artificial intelligence, from news gathering to news production and the news distribution. And on a side note, each and every one of them will be a separate job in the upcoming 2 years. So those who will be working in news gathering won't be working on news production or news distribution. It will be super hard to cover 3 parts. So this is only for the first sentence in my presentation. Personalization, personalized news, which is also reflected on our filter bubbles, what types of news that we are getting, how are we getting them, and why. For the last couple of days in Egypt, people have been like criticizing their homepage on Facebook because I think there is something wrong, because we kept receiving updates that we never signed for, groups that we never joined. So people have started to criticize that, and we are still waiting for the Facebook or Meta press release to explain what had been happening for that. Real-time translation, and our translators over there, sorry, but I think you will need to find another job soon. Building audios, Osama is here, and for Zamujo, and creating videos, we will be using, actually now we are using programs and applications, and I never thought that Egyptians or people in the Arab region would pay money for applications, except when I discovered that they are paying money for ChatGPT 4 and Mid-Journey after they close their free trials. Whenever you ask people to pay for Microsoft, pardon me, they never pay for that. All of us are using correct versions. But people are paying for Mid-Journey, and they are paying for ChatGPT 4. And this is a very important point. We need to stop and think about why and how. So if they have the money, why they are not paying for other applications? And if yes, why for ChatGPT and Mid-Journey? This is another question. Actually, this is fueled by the excitement and prominence and huge investment. Artificial intelligence is about data, yes, but it's also about investments. There is trillions of dollars poured into this area, and people are worrying more and more. If you can recall, like the struggle or the problem that happened between Elon Musk and people behind OpenAI. By the way, he was one of the founders and investors, and all of a sudden we saw a petition that they need to stop the development of AI in the world for 6 months. And in less than a month, we found that those who were signing for the petition are launching their own AI companies. So this is how the game is going. I'm going to cut it short. By applying self-learning techniques, I have been enrolled in almost like 17 online courses to see how things are going on. And also we're having like restless consultations with Dr. Gudai, Dina Saad, myself, and they were led by Professor Amin on how are we going to formulate our diploma. The Kamal Adham Center is launching a diploma for the AI, only focusing on journalism, journalists and media makers. And we were struggling for 2 months on how are we going to formulate it. We have been going through restless, as I have said, restless consultations on how are we going to do it. Dr. Gudai gave us an overview of how things are going worldwide, from Europe to UK to US, and for example, and also for the Scandinavians. And I need to stop here. I had my diploma from Sweden in social media, like in 2009, and they love reflection. Sometimes they spend the whole day reflecting on the previous day, and they don't mind, because they think that reflection is the dynamic way of getting things done correctly, and of course for democracy and like listening to each other. Forget about it, but it's a side note, forget about it. So mainly our diploma will be focusing, it will start with the basics. We'll be having a basic terminology whether it's in English or Arabic, mainly it will be in English because like we are having a problem with translating the terminologies up till now. We don't have a dictionary, for example, for the AI terminologies, so we will be using the English terminologies, but it will be basic. What is AI? What's the difference, for example, between machine learning, deep learning? What is the role of data in that? What is data science? Why some people prefer R and they don't prefer Python? I prefer Python. I hate R. I'm a Python guy, so I'll be teaching Python, if they allow me. So mainly it will be basics about how things are going with the AI. Categories, some tools. Second thing will be using real-world examples. We are having great examples worldwide. Some media organizations have been going like for 10 or 15 years, utilizing those materials or utilizing AI. For example, the Washington Post, they are having their own lab nowadays for the AI products. Maybe you have started like to listen about media products. It's no longer about the news. It's about the product. The news are now news are now a product. Making it as much as we can interactive. It's not about the headset. This is only a tool. This is a game. But what is behind the game? We need to understand that. Provide opportunities for feedback. And this is very important because when it comes to teaching AI, which is super technical, it's not a rocket science, but it's a super technical course. We need to get feedback from students, participants, who are mainly working in the field in order to start developing our curriculums. We are going to follow the human-centric approach, which is now like dominating, but we will focus on it. People think that human-centric approach is just about like asking people about their opinion, which is not that. I think people know it more about with design thinking, so we will be depending mainly on that. In details, I talked about that, the course itself. That will be part one, the main things that we are going to cover. Rana is taking a picture. Rana, she is like investigating AI in non-Western newsrooms in UK now, so she took a picture about the course. That will be diploma, 5 courses. Graduates should build their own final projects, which would be any type of projects related to AI in our newsrooms. It might be in a journalism newsroom, TV newsroom, radio newsroom, whatsoever. Even for the online, we will be focusing, by the way, on the online media. So the AI 101 will be covering the impact of AI on media and entertainment industry, like what I have been saying, gathering, producing, and distributing. We'll be giving examples, the philosophy of AI, because we need to understand the history. Like Dr. Abadi talked about that, like how it started. AI basics and the framework and applications, this is very important. Course number 2 would be like getting ready, how to prepare our newsrooms. It's not only about people working in media organizations, it's about our newsrooms. Like we are jumping towards like the AI, and we are still considering digital transformation, about like buying the recent computers and the recent applications, which is not digital transformation. Digital transformation goes beyond that. Digital transformation, in a simple way, is about people. You need to like transform people from inside. It's about the bashar, not al-makan. So getting ready our newsroom, thinking digitally, thinking about AI newsrooms, areas where newsroom might benefit from AI. By the way, we should not all have AI in our newsrooms. For example, some media outlets might not benefit from investing in artificial intelligence. It's super expensive, and expensive when it comes to money and when it comes to time also. So we need to see whether we need it or not. People, culture, and resistance, because we will be facing resistance, huge resistance, because simply you are providing people with tools that will replace them, and you are asking the people to use it. So resistance is coming here. Tools decision, and this is a very important thing, whether we are going to buy or build. Are we going to hire people who are working on people who will work on developing AI or not? By the way, it's not an AI guy. There is no AI guy. Dr. Abadi might confirm or deny. There is no an AI guy. There is someone who knows something. People. This one? Duplication? Duplication? Yeah, okay. So we have someone who knows something about it, but no one who knows everything about it. So it will be a huge team. Are you capable to pay for them? Or even to provide like the adequate environment for them to work? Like, do you think like our own newsroom, Mr. Ashraf is here from Al-Ahram, do you think the newsroom in Al-Ahram can accept AI people inside it? Course number 3, it will be like towards your first AI project, how people will start thinking about their AI project. And here it is not about the AI, it's not about the machine. It's about our newsroom vision. It's about the business vision, the money. Show me the money. If I'm an investor, I'm not going to invest in a newsroom that I don't think or I cannot see the income. Why should I do it? It's not a charity, it's a company. So people need to start think about the overall business vision, logic and problem solving. If you think that artificial intelligence is something that will be coming from up to solve all your problems, you are mistaken. If you don't know your problem and you don't have the logic to solve the problem, the machine won't, because up till now we are using the unsupervised learning, which is depend mainly on human who is feeding the machine. So up till now, there is an importance for human beings. So you need to understand what do you want to feed. Steps towards building your first project, understanding the audience. You need to understand your audience. First, you understand your newsroom, and then you need to understand the audience. Do they need it? Yani, when it comes to sports, for example, are people going to accept automated news when it comes to sports? Are they willing to give up the 3 hours TV programs talking about football every day? احنا من غير برامج الكورة الرجالة هتقعد فين؟ احنا بنهرب على القهوة عشان نتفرج على برامج الكورة. هشوفها اوتوميتد ليه؟ ليه اشوف مكنة بتقول لي الماتش؟ احنا ناقصين؟ The AI regulations and governance. Dr. Gidait and Dr. Amin touched base on that. The regulations. And when it comes to the Arab region, I think we are way behind it. We are still talking about freedom of expression and data laws. And now we need to run to have some AI regulations. By the way, Egypt is having a strategic paper covering the AI in Egypt. It had been published 2 years ago, but I doubt if anyone read it. AIPE and ethics. Course number 4, it will be mainly about the ready-made tools. We won't teach journalists at the beginning to build their own tools, because that will need like a huge amount of math, and believe that people اللي دخلوا كلية إعلام وأنت بتشرح لهم رياضة بحتة والجبرة وإحنا أصلاً كنا هربانين منها. بقى لي 4 سنين بدرسها ومش فاهم حاجة. So we will be teaching generative AI tools like ChatGPT, Pard, Bing, things like that. And in that point, we will touch base on something called the foundation models. Then we will be talking about text tools, image tools, audio and video, and productivity tools, because we can automate a lot of tasks, and we don't know that till now We don't know that we can use certain applications. Slack, for example. We can use Slack to automate a lot of communication tasks that have been going on inside our newsroom. We don't need our morning meeting anymore. We need to buy a Slack account. And course number 5 will be about the final project, which will be basically applying all the above in one course. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Asmat. So this has been such a wonderful discussion. I have so many questions myself, and I'm sure you do as well. And I feel like we could keep talking about this for another 4 hours. But I just want to, I mean, we've covered so many important themes, challenges to journalism education in general, issues related to bias, ethics, digital divide and inequality, which is a really big one, I think, effective integration. There's been a lot of discussion around, I don't think the word's been used, but around interdisciplinarity. And figuring out how to adjust or reformulate courses, which is what you were talking about, Dr. Godai. Not just courses, sorry, programs. I do want to just ask one question, and then I'm going to open it up to the floor. And I'm asking this question because I think this question was sort of spurred from Dr. El Abadi's talk, but I think it's something that all panelists can speak to, which is the question of how can we train students to be critical in this new context. I mean, there's been so much talk over the years about sort of helping to foster critical thinking, but what does that mean? What does being critical mean in this new media environment? Who would like to, does anyone want to jump in on that? Or?
It's a very good question. And I think it's on a lot of systems' minds. There's no one good answer. I mean, there's foundations that needs to be built into the systems around taking risk. So a student, I mean, I was reflecting on a comment that I think either Dr. Ahmed or one of the Ahmeds actually mentioned about the Scandinavians being reflecting every day. They like reflections. Well, if you think it's an inherent part of AI, that you release and iterate. Okay, you trust that the data will get you to the right answer at one point. Okay, so this concept of agility is tied into releasing and iterate. You have nothing to lose. If you made a mistake today, you're going to fix it tomorrow. So build that in any curriculum you build. Build that in any education system you want. Trust them, let them take mistakes, let them be okay with them making the first mistake, but they have to be quick. I mean, this is everything in AI. A car that drives itself, how are you going to test a car that drives itself? You have no idea where it will be, what condition it will be, and there is no such thing as a test matrix that you can qualify before it ships. There's no such thing. So the only thing you do is you let it go, and you constantly monitor the car. You reflect on anomalies. Whenever you see an anomaly in the system, how quickly the system corrects itself is the only thing that regulators can do for autonomous driving cars or drones. Or, by the way, 90% of our flights is on autonomous driving planes. So all these systems are constantly looking for anomalies in the system and let it happen so they can quickly fix it. So that's the same thing with your kids. Let them make mistakes, but quickly adjust. And be very rigorous about the quickly thing. So that will be the high-level view. And by the way, I disagree with Dr. Ahmed. Python is not R. And they are very easy. I mean, they are really very easy. My kids learned it in 2 days. So they're very easy tools. So these are the tools that they will deal with data on. Okay, so build it into your programs. There is no room for any discipline that is not going to touch on data. So it's a core. So I will stop here.
Thank you. I just want to build on what Dr. Tara was talking about. There's one good book that recently came in journalism education. It's called Trust the Wisdom of the Crowd. And here, crowd can be anyone. It can be the audience as well as the students. Trust the audience and the wisdom of the students. Students, they have knowledge. And with educators, they need to trust that students, they have the ability to think. It is not about the idea of getting right or wrong. It is about the idea of expressing themselves. It is about the idea of getting what's in their mind out. And this is something that is needed sort of like to be part of the journalism education. Trust the wisdom of the crowd, audience, as well as trust with the ability of the students. If you give them the tools, they can start, they can make mistakes, but they will learn, and afterwards they will excel. This would be with basic journalism education, as well as when it comes to learning the tools and gadgets of artificial intelligence.
Does anyone else want to speak to that? Okay, I think we can open up the floor. There's lots of questions. We actually only have about 10 minutes left. Sorry? Sorry? Oh, we can start. We'll take 3 questions and then allow you to respond. Go ahead.
Yes, hi. Thank you very much for this interesting panel and ideas that you have mentioned. Just 2 quick points. I was expecting to hear something like about the Egyptian ecosystem, the problems that we're facing now vis-a-vis the market, why the people below 30 years old, they do not follow the media, the classic media, and where the AI could fit. So my question is, were there any study done about the problems and where the AI would fit? And if not, would that be a suggestion before having the course, maybe to readjust the content? And the second one, it's another suggestion. Maybe if we can steal from the School of Management and Entrepreneurship the idea of having an incubator or an accelerator where for the ones who are already in the field, they are not students, they want to fit and they want to overcome their challenges, and they want to have something quick and learn and adapt. So if this is possible, and as well to measure in this incubator model the success of the model and how far it will be rewardable financially as well. So thank you.
مساء الخير. معلش هتكلم عربي. اسمحوا لي اقول لكم بس انا قديم شويه. انا قديم شويه من درجه هي 0 3 7 5000 لما كنت بخش بالنت بالطريقه دي وكان لحد ما نخش مش عارف ناس كبيره فاكره ولا مش فاكره. بس انا عايز احكي عن تجربه شخصيه مع الشات جي بي تي. انا بعمل سيناريوهات وبكتب سيناريوهات وبعمل مسلسلات كتير. فسالت سؤال مباشر قول لي دي 30 حلقه عن الطلاق، عايز اعمل 30 مسلسل 30 حلقه عن الطلاق. الراجل جاوبني في اقل من دقيقه وطلع لي 30 فكره حلقات. من ضمن الحلقات ان هي الاثنين اتطلقوا نايمين مع بعض في السرير اللي مش عارف. قلت له لا ثانيه واحده، انت كده مدخلنا في الحيطه. احنا عايزين نعمل الطلاق الاسلامي. قال لي انا ما اعرفش هو ايه الطلاق الاسلامي. قلت له طب خش على النت ويعرف. قال لي ما بخشش على النت. ففي شويه حاجات كده كانت صغيره. انا بالنسبه لي عملت نفسي ناصح ان انا عديته. بس بعد 3 ايام ابني كلمني تاني وقال لي اللي انت سالته الاسئله دي بقى ليها اجابه، لان في حاجه اسمها بيبي تشات جي بي تي، وبقى في حاجه اسمها الايجنت تشات بي بي تي. زينا زمان لما كنت بحكي للطلبه بتوعي، لما كنت بقول لهم بالمحاضرات ايه الفرق ما بيني وبين نيوتن وقعت عليه التفاحه فاكتشفت قانون الجاذبيه. انتوا لو وقعت عليكم التفاحه تعملوا ايه؟ لا، هنغسلها الاول بعدين ناكلها. ده اللي اتعلمناه في المدرسه. في فرق كبير قوي، فرق الثقافه. فعشان كده اللي انا شايف ان الاسئله اللي اتسالت مظبوط. احنا عايزين مش بس الطلبه اللي بيدرسوا، احنا عايزين اللي في سني كمان يفهموا. يعني محتاجين كلنا نبقى عارفين، يبقى في محاضرات اكتر، محاضرات بتاع. انا بحب احضر في كل الحاجات دي، فيبقى مش بس انا اللي بحب، اكيد في 20,000 واحد زيي بيعملوا كده. شكرا يا دكتور.
مساء الخير. بداية I'll speak in English. Okay. Thank you Dr. حسين أمين على هذه for this gathering, and the topic is really hot during this weather. I think what we are lacking here, we are facing the problem of time. Whether for young generation or for old generation, we need to move fast. Actually, we're still struggling with distant learning. I know that Sweden now, they stop distant learning and they try to stop any online learning. This is something astonishing to all of us, that we have been utilizing online learning or distant learning through the COVID-19, and it was doing well in some countries. In other countries, they are not doing. All my students, they get A, by the way, during the distance learning. So I think time is our worst enemy. Time, we need to do something in order to overcome this struggle. Usually all of your presentation are wonderful and try to give us something, but as good presentation usually raises more questions than answering them. My question to all of you is what we should do with time.
I'm going to actually give the mic to Salma El-Ghittani to ask a question to Dr. Godai, and then we'll go to our panelists.
So my question, Dr. Godai, you mentioned that in the US and countries in Europe, they're still not offering entire programs, they're just offering bits and pieces here and there. Why do you think is that? Are they being skeptical? Are they being slow, maybe too slow to catch up? I thought by now we would have like a dozen programs in the US alone only tackling AI.
Okay, when it comes to the US, I think there is a problem when it comes to the process of implementing a new course or a new program in terms of handing it to scientific committee and then having it in the form of like a discussion and implementing a new program and a new program that needs to be accredited and approved. All of this takes time. So now in the process of like taking time in order to build a new program, now they are introducing these bits and pieces into the courses so that they don't lose time. So in order not to lose time when it comes to journalism education, so they are introducing these concepts of artificial intelligence into their programs, regardless, because the, sort of like the process of initiating a new program and having it accredited and having like all of these forms of like studies to see like how many people can will join and whether it will be cost efficient. All of this will take time, and the idea of process of integrating AI into education, it needs to be done now. So that is why it is the idea of introducing this idea of bits and pieces. Maybe in Europe, sort of like the idea of hand-on or sort of like the handling of new courses is much quicker than that in the US. The idea of accreditation is much easier than that in the US. So that is why it is easier to implement new programs or to implement new modules in this sense or courses in this sense. So this is my immediate answer to your question. Can I answer another question? I would like to answer your question when it comes to the idea of has there been any studies when it comes to Egyptian newsrooms? There are several studies, and I've done some studies when it comes to Egyptian newsrooms and whether the question of technology in this sense or AI can benefit. So it is the idea of, I would like sort of like to take the point from Dr. Ahmed Asmat, who was talking about whether the idea of implementing AI is good for some newspapers or not, because of the question of investment. Even with some newsrooms, they need to create a form of like a consortium together in order to implement a form of AI. It doesn't need to have like a form of a full-fledged programmers inside the newsrooms, but the idea of getting together in order to implement a form of AI or a form of database or a form of implementing database. We saw examples around the world when it comes to that. In UAE, we're finding a consortium of newspapers, including Al-Ittihad, including other newspapers. They are joining together in order to create a database in order to implement artificial intelligence. Like, if you think about the database of Al-Ahram. Oh my God. Like, this is the history of Egypt, is in Al-Ahram and with Al-Ahram database. Like, when you think about the prospect of what can be used in terms of analyzing political stands through Al-Ahram messages through the past 50 years, it can tell a lot. It can tell us a lot. And this is the type of journalism that people are willing to pay for. And this is the type of journalism that people are looking at. And this is how you can use artificial intelligence in order to develop the content and have a better content. So that is why I'm sort of like, I'm not trying to preach about artificial intelligence, but I would like sort of like to open eye, sort of like of what can be implemented when it comes to artificial intelligence. That is why I'm thinking that artificial intelligence is sort of like is a landmark. The same questions that were asked 30 years ago with the internet, because I was part of initiating the internet in Egyptian newsrooms, including Al-Ahram, including Akhbar newspaper, where I formerly worked. So it opens up a lot of opportunities. It is just that we need to have people, contact people inside newsrooms who can believe in the idea and have implementation.
Thank you very much. Second round question.
Okay, in the interest of time, we're just going to have one more round of questions. I do apologize. I know that many of you have questions. So you can go ahead, maybe some in the back of the room. Radwan? Okay.
Hi, thank you so much for the great presentations and talks. I am Dr. Rana Arafat. I'm an assistant professor in digital journalism at City University of London. Thank you so much for presenting our experience. I'm working on this project in incorporating our AI tools and everything in our current curricula. So I have a question to you about the role of universities right now, because the major problem I see currently in newsrooms, in Egyptian newsrooms in particular, is how journalists and editors perceive technologists and programmers as outsiders. The complete absence of innovation labs in Egyptian newsrooms and outsourcing programmers from third-party companies and not having them implemented or established inside the newsroom make our Egyptian newsrooms miss a lot of opportunities for developing solutions that can be tailored for tackling problems inside newsrooms themselves. I don't know, I think there is a great responsibility from academic institutions to at least provide some training or some explanation to bring those actors together, especially that technologists as well don't care at all and have completely different perceptions of what journalism is, what constitutes journalism and good journalism. And in my research, they keep telling me, okay, we don't care, we do whatever the editors ask us to do. We don't know anything about what this newsroom is doing or what it's trying to achieve eventually. So, yeah, thank you.
مساء الخير، أنا اسمي خالد عمار، مؤسس مشروع اسمه مشروع الإعلام الافتراضي وكاتب شبكة الصحفيين الدوليين وبحاضر وبدرب في الإعلام الجديد أو مشروع الإعلام الافتراضي. أنا طبعاً بس هضيف إضافة سريعة على كلام اللي قاله الدكتور جدي. حضرتك اتكلمت عن مشاريع كتير، لكن إحنا عندنا مشروع في مصر رائد جداً اسمه مشروع الإعلام الافتراضي، بكتب فيه شبكة الصحفيين الدوليين في واشنطن. المشروع ده بيستخدم الاي اي، بيستخدم الميتافيرس، بيستخدم تقنية ال 360 في صناعة محتوى جديد ومختلف عن شكل الإعلام بشكل عام. المشروع ده بقاله سنة تقريباً. احنا حضرنا فيه في جامعات كتير جداً، احنا دربنا عليه أكتر من 1000 طالب وأستاذ جامعي وأساتذة في كلية الإعلام في العالم العربي كله بالتعاون مع مؤسسات دولية. لو حضرتك سرشت عن المشروع ده، احنا بنعمل بيه حتى شغل في الميديا دلوقتي في قناة DMC، عملنا فيه استوديو افتراضي في جريدة الوطن. هذا المشروع اتعمل عنه حوالي 13 رسالة ماجستير ودكتوراه وأبحاث ترقية عن هذا المشروع. هو مش مشروع نظري أكتر ما هو تطبيق عملي. استخدمنا فيه الكاميرات 360 وتقنيات 360
بس ممكن سيادتك تقول لنا سؤالك بالتحديد عشان احنا لازم
هو
ندخل
انا خلاص
الساعة 8.
انا بس حبيت اضيف التجربه المصريه علشان كان في اسئله كتير جدا ان فين التجارب
حضرتك
المصريه.
بقى تنشرها عشان احنا كمان نقراها ونستخدمها في الليترتشر بتاعنا.
منشوره يا فندم على جوجل، حضرتك كتبت بس.
خلاص ابعت لنا لو تسمح اللينك، وانا عن نفسي
ده شرف عظيم لنا يا فندم، شكرا جزيلا، شكرا.
All right, one more question from this side.
شكرا جزيلا يا فندم. انا محمد لبيب، محامي. انا سؤالي يا فندم في ظل التطور التشريعي اللي موجود دلوقتي وفي ظل وجود قوانين جديده كتير بتتكلم عن موضوع جرائم تقنيه المعلومات، والقانون الجديد المفروض ان هو قريبا ان شاء الله يصدر بتاع حريه تداول البيانات والمعلومات، والقانون اللي صدر في 2021 الخاص بحمايه البيانات الشخصيه. كيف يمكن للسادة الصحفيين والعاملين في هذا المجال حماية كتاباتهم وإبداعاتهم في هذا الأمر؟ وهل عندهم يا فندم الوعي الكافي ان هو يواكب التطور التشريعي اللي موجود، علما بان احنا دايما يعني كرجال قانون او كمحامين بنقول دايما التكنولوجيا قبل القانون، لان التكنولوجيا سابقه بكتير الموضوع التشريعي. شكرا جزيلا يا فندم.
All right, thank you. We'll move to our panelists to answer. If you'd like to go ahead.
اخر واحد ده انا هسيبه لك. انا هرجع بس معلش عشان في ناس سالت ما جاوبناش اسئلتها. هنبتدي الاول بالسبيشاليزد شات جي بي تي. ده الخطوه الجايه يعني، وبتحصل بسرعه جدا. كان بدايه يعني الشات جي بي تي والشات بوتس is an evolution من السيرش. يعني معظم شركات السيرش اشتغلت على الكونسبت ده way قبل اوبن اي اي. بس because they're giants ما عرفوش يموف as fast as open AI. السبيشاليزد شات بوتس ممكن تكون حصلت وحضرتك بتكلمنا. This is how fast things are. وهي دي اللي المفروض دورنا ان احنا in order to make our relevant information و knowledge included في المنظومة دي، ان احنا بنبني الحاجات اللي بتابديت. هما it's constantly learning. This concept of regenerative learning معناها ان كل ساعة وعلى فكرة chat GPT is a very expensive demo لغاية دلوقتي. وكل الشركات بتحاول تشوف how to make it cheaper. يعني لو عندكم ابن بيشتغل في systems بيفجر out how to make the parallel computation happen even cheaper، ده يعني وزنه ذهب ماشي. فده بيحصل. بس انت مجرد ما استخدمته هو بدأ يعرف ان في ترند ناس انترستد في الاسلامك طلاق وجواز. فهتلاقي يعني لو دخلت دلوقتي تاني بعد كام يوم هتلاقيه اتعمل. فدي حاجه. نقطه التايم حضرتك مربوط بالاجيليتي، يمكن سمعت عنها. it's a constant term comes with AI. agility وابتدت سنه 2008 2009. الكونسبت اوف بروجكت مانجمنت اللي ماشيه زي ووتر فول اتنهت، بقت سيكليك، بقت الريليس اند اتريت. اليونجر جنريشن يعني انا with all the respect انا one of them والله I'm linear thinker. انا من واحد من اللي بيمشي بالووتر فول. ما ينفعش في العصر اللي احنا فيه. let go, let the young generation take control. يعني لما بنروح بلاد زي بولندا مثلا، يعني بولندا was competing with مصر 10 years ago. مين الليدر في التايم زون ده في مجال التكنولوجيا المعلومات؟ النهارده تروح مش هتلاقي وزير، مش هتلاقي رئيس هيئه اكبر من 40 سنه. ليه؟ عشان they're more abstract. بيتعاملوا بالداتا كده. they got used ان هم ياخدوا الامتحانات multiple choice. انا I had theories واقعد اطبق الثيري وكل ده ما ينفعش في الاجيليتي. فthis is the time factor. الانسر to your question let go مع احترامي ولت اليونجر جنريشن تيك كنترول، هيحلوا كل حاجه. اما اخر سؤال ده بقى مع اعتذاري انا مش عارف حاجه خالص عنه.
يا سعاده المستشار، اولا ام سوري، قانون تداول المعلومات احنا شغالين فيه من 2008 يا فندم. انا عندي مثلا 14 نسخه منه، وحتى الان لما يعني لغايه ما يطلع ما عندناش قانون تداول المعلومات، لغايه ما يطلع قانون. أنا بقول لسيادتك أنا لا أؤمن إن هناك قانون لتداول المعلومات. إن عندنا وعلى فكرة إحنا مرتين هنا كان عندنا نفس المؤتمرات ديت الموجودة على قانون تداول المعلومات ولم يحدث شيء. فإحنا ما نقدرش نقول في ظل قانون تداول المعلومات الغير معروف القطة اللي هنا سيبوها في حالها يا جماعة عشان طيب بس ما تجروش وراها لحسن هتقعد تنط فوق الناس. سيبوها في حالها هتسكت هي لوحدها. ف sit down relax. ما تبقى الحماسة دي بتودي في أمور مش كويسة. فلغاية ما يطلع قانون نقدر إن احنا بعد كده نقول تأثيراته إيه في مع ال AI. إنما غير كده مش هقدر أقول لحضرتك حاجة فيها. في حاجات كتيرة جدا بالنسبة للريجيليشنز. احنا وحضرتك سيادة المستشار عارف كويس قوي إن احنا في مسألة الريجيليشنز ديت يعني متراجعين بمئات الأميال في كل حاجة. We did not regulate satellite broadcast. We did not regulate internet pornography stuff like this. بتشوف we did not even regulate the opposition. ما عندناش regulation. في ناس اللي بيطلع بيختفي. بتختفي ازاي ما نعرفش، انه ما فيش حاجه حصلت له بعد كده بتكلم. ففي الحاجات ديت احنا مش عايزين نقول ناقصنا ريجوليشن. وي نيد انترنت ريجوليشن لينا. وي نيد ساتلايت ريجوليشن برضه نفس الشيء، لان حاجات مستحيل الواحد يشوفها بقت مساله دارجه جدا. وعندنا مبادرات. اوعى تفتكر انا بكلمك من فراغ، لا انا عندي مبادرات كبيره في الجامعه العربيه عندنا مبادرات كبيره ومشاريع كبيره. انما ريجوليشنز، هل احنا عندنا انترنت ريجوليشنز؟ عندنا ساتلايت ريجوليشن؟ ما فيش، ما عندناش. لا انا بقول لحضرتك ده مشروع قانون لو تسمع بتاع مشروع حريه تداول المعلومات. لا ده موضوع تاني، ده موضوع تاني. احنا بنتكلم في مشروع تداول المعلومات، حريه تداول المعلومات. اصل هنقول لسيادتك بس حاجه، اصل احنا في الحريات برضو عندنا مشكله. مش عايزين نخش في مواضيع سياسيه، اصل المواضيع السياسيه دي هتجرنا فيما وعلى فكره حضرتك فتحت لنا يعني باب عشان اما نيجي نتكلم على موضوع الاي اي ومساله الحريات والسياسه دي مسائل كبيره قوي. يا استاذ عبد الله بلخر، time is running out on us. حضرتك سالت حاجه على التايم.
ده كلام مظبوط.
هم اضطروا ان هم يتراجعوا لسبب لذكاء الطلب. وبرجع هنا هو لذكاء الطلب.
هو كلام حضرتك مظبوط، وانا حاولت اتاتش عنها دي من التوبكس اللي ما ينفعش دوله وحدها تريجليت. فده لازم يتعمل على الانترناشونال ليفل، ولازم الانترناشونال اورجانيزيشنز ياخدوا دور. الحاجه الوحيده اللي طبقت وناجحه لغايه النهارده هي البرايفسي اللي عملها الايو الحقيقه. يعني الايو هم اللي طبقوها وبقت هي الستاندرد ديفاكتو ستاندرد في العالم كله. البرايفسي رولز. I think security is next. برضو الردع، يعني قوه الردع، بس دي مش هتحصل على مستوى دوله واحده. فلازم يكون نشاطنا من خلال الانترناشونال اورجانيزيشنز.
احنا لو تسمحي you need to have a microphone.
Yes, so I've been, if it's fine with all the panelists, we'll do another 5 minutes. Is that fine with everyone?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Yeah? Okay. So we'll take 2 more questions. You can go ahead, and then 1 person from this side.
في البداية أنا بشكر يعني الندوة الجميلة دي، بشكر كل القائمين عليها لأن فعلا تنظيم باهر. أنا أماني شوقي، أنا إعلامية بالإذاعة. احنا كنا اخذنا جايزه في الميتافيرس في مهرجان الاذاعه والتلفزيون، كنا اخذين الجايزه الثانيه. انا كان ليا تعقيب، بس انا كنت انا من كلام حضراتكم حسيت ان هيبقى في توجيه للصحافه وتوجيه للاعلام من خلال الذكاء الاصطناعي. يعني اما يبقى في برنامج في ناس قائمين عليه يعني بيحطوا معلومات معينه، فهيبقى في توجه، يعني هم بيوجهونا لسياسات معينه. فهل هيكون ده فعلا موجود، وهل ده هيأثر سلبي على المجتمعات النامية؟
قبل ما يوصل لك الميكروفون هجاوب عليه. ده سؤال هايل. very good question. very good question. فيعني الزعيق جاب فايدة. That was very good question. It's true ان في bias، وده مربوط بالسايبر سيكيورتي. يعني part of the trends، يعني you cannot do it in a vacuum. ما نبقاش يوتوبيا يعني. فزي ما كل ما يبقى فيه فلوس في المواضيع، كل ما بتاتراكت الباد. وزي ما الدكتور احمد هنا قال على الفيك نيوز، كانت البدايه، يعني بدايه الموضوع الفيك نيوز. دلوقتي how to influence، how to الانتخابات واللوبينج بتاع الانتخابات، تاثير على بتاع ده. This is all happening. وامريكا بتتهم روسيا وروسيا بتتهم امريكا. That's already happening. فده لازم يبقى معمول خطوة بخطوة مع المجموعات اللي شغالة على السايبر سيكيورتي، وبيعرفوا انه جروبس، وبيعرفوا الكامبينز بتيجي منين، وفي منهم من ولاد عمك. فيعني ايه، we can watch for this.
I understand your concern. Let me put it in a simple word. Artificial intelligence is about databases and feeding databases. So far we don't have a strong database industry. Once we have a good database industry, then it will be fed into the system. Once it is in the system, then this is a different game. So far, databases can be controlled, can be manipulated, can be directed towards agenda, simply because we are not there. We are not on the map. Once we are in the map and have the capacity to be part of this map, then we can talk about other elements.
Thank you so much
and
for
then we're
this.
going to finish. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you so much for this wonderful speech. I just needed to ask a question. We were talking about AI and how it's taking over journalism, but something else that concerned me is it going to take over other occupations, other important occupations like doctors or engineers? And if so, how? And is it going to be like in a on the long run, or like is it going to be shortly? And what are the effects?
Of course, Yani, thank you, Dr. Hussein, first for arranging this panel and for all the panelists. I myself learned a lot. And my question is about adaptability for the news organization or all the media organization. What's your advice for the news organization to adapt? Because it's a key term here is adaptability to whatever technology is coming, whether it's AI or not. What's your advice for the news organization to be able to adapt to the new ecosystem? Thank you.
يعني الكونسبت الحقيقة is inherent. دلوقتي there is ready systems that they're probably knocking on your door to sell you on. I think that the key things for you to have a data strategy. يعني يمكن دكتور أحمد using the concept of database هي more data in general، لأن الماني الحقيقة في حاجة اسمها big data مش في الداتابيز. فالداتا strategy دي بيجي معاها كل الاسبكت اوف data organization, data security, data protection. كأي organization لازم يبقى عنده data strategy. Some organizations بيجيبوا ناس من بره يعملوا لهم data strategy. I don't believe in that. I really think in operation management هم اللي لازم يحطوا data strategy دي عشان يبقوا convinced ان this is not a cost center. A digital transformation is when your CFO realize ان الداتا فيها فلوس. هو دلوقتي بيصرف يعني I guarantee you in any صحيفة أي جورنال الاي تي جروب ريبورت للسي اف او. It is a cost center من سنة لسنة بيحاولوا يمانج بادجت. لما السي اف او ده يعرف ان الداتا دي ممكن تعمل له فلوس اكتر من المين ستريم بتاعه بزنس، that's a digital transformation. That require a data strategy. ده هيختلف بقى زيه زي اي حاجه بنعمل لها استراتيجي. بزنس موديل بيختلف. ما بقاش بيبيع كونتنت، ده بقى يبيع اكسبيرينس. كنا بنتكلم فالكونسبت نفسه لازم يبقى اندرين في الاورجنايزيشن، لازم توب داون، دايما تبتدي بالفوق، واللي فوق لو فاهم لازم السي اف او يفهم. يعني in my opinion my history لما السي اف او buy into it ويشوف فعلا ان there is money can be made there، ده ساعتها بيختلف الوضع. وكلام حضرتك يعني اي جوب فيها روتين هتختفي. الجنرال دكتورز اول ناس هيختفوا. السبيشالايزد دكتور is there to be there. اي شغلانه فيها روتين الماشين هتعملها احسن 100 مره.
Thank you very much. Did you want to say something, Dr. Godey?
Just one quick thing about the missing link. For me, the missing link is the journalism body, or journalist body, in the process of adaptation. Here we're talking about the top management and the outsource companies that provide data or database journalism. The missing link is the journalists working inside the newsroom. صحفيين اللي بيشتغلوا في المطبخ الصحفي. الناس اللي شغالة اللي هي everyday journalism work. These are the people who need the training, or these are the people who need to understand the value of artificial intelligence. وده السؤال, answering your question, what is missing in the Egyptian strategy? It is the idea of talking to the journalists inside news organizations to move from being employees to journalists. From just writing into doing journalism. And this is something that is very crucial. That is sort of like needs to be addressed by الجماعة الصحفية. In that sense.
Excellent. I'm really sorry. I have been asked to clear the place in no time because we are exceeded our time by half an hour, and I see that you stay glued to your chairs and you have plenty of questions, which is good. So we need to salute you. Bravo alaikum. You need to learn more. You know, I'm a person who is a true believer of what I can do. So through the center, as Dr. Aismat stated, based on the talk of Dr. Al-Abadi and Dr. Godey, we are really studying to implement a diploma in AI journalism. And this diploma is for journalists. So mid-career journalists are welcome to apply. What I'm trying to find is right now who's going to finance it, so that we will be bringing the top experts from the world to teach and to bring the skills needed. And this is me. It's one person. I'm one. So if we have many are trying to do the same, by the way, we have a digital media diploma that is very popular. And we are trying to also our master's degree in television digital journalism is extremely popular. So, but we are looking into what we have in our house and try to improve according to the needs. There are so many universities in the country that can do the same, and we provide them with help and assistance. But I have to thank everybody in the room today because of the wonderful question that's been raised. And this question is not going to end. I'm going to do a series on artificial intelligence journalism so that you can learn more and know more about it. And of course, Ms. Sarah Sharawi, the managing editor of Arab Media and Society, which is the only international Q2 journal in the region, is going to prepare the floor for an issue on media and artificial intelligence that is going to come up after the issue on media and women. So remember, there are some people working in this country, so not to worry. We'll pass through it together, you know. We have achieved a lot together, and we will do more wonderful things together. So at this point, I would like to refer to Ms. Sarah so that we conclude the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. And please join me in thanking our excellent panel. It's been a very eventful day. And we look forward to continuing this conversation. We will, outside, Dr. Amin mentioned there are call for papers for Arab Media Society and other information that you can get outside. But for the meantime, Dr. Amin is going to hand out some plates to our esteemed panelists as a token of our gratitude. And thank you for this very interactive and wonderful evening.